Hello, hi. Good evening, guys. In last tutorial, we saw constant, how we can use constant in ES6. In this tutorial, we'll be looking how to work with variable hosting. So, like I have created here one file. Its name is variable hosting.js, and it's like, and I have printed out, and it says my name is John. You can also use Node. From this tutorial, I will be using it prints him. I will be directly building in Sublime Text. You can also use Sublime Text as a build. Just go to tools and then add build system, and there you add new build system. In new build system, just copy this code, and you will be able to get. It's simple. It's handy. You can go on Sublime Text website also, and you can see it. Yeah. So let's get back to variable hosting tutorials. As you can see, I have declared name John, and what I'm doing here is that I'm printing the John name. What I will do now, what we can do here is, let's reverse it and let's save it. It says my name is undefined already, and we are declaring John at line number 4, and we are logging the name variable at line number 2. So in old JavaScript, what used to happen when you declare anything with var variable, it gets hoisted. Like the variable template is already being created. You declare it at any line number. Even if you declare variable at line number, what do I say? Anywhere, like anywhere, you declare it at like var x equals to 10, and you try to print here uh, console.log, variable x x value is okay x, and even if you try to build it here, it says variable x value is undefined, variable name is undefined, because what it does is that it places the value, it declares variable x by itself and places it at the top of the script. So suppose you can imagine here, whenever you run code, before running the code, what happens, JavaScript declares here like var x equals to undefined. So this was an issue in earlier JavaScript. So this is the case of variable hosting. So let us see now how let resolves this variable hosting case. Mm, Let me create another new file. Variable. I will create it variable hosting. I will keep every code as old JS and old new ES6 code, so that it is available on GitHub repository. Mm, Let me save it here. Okay. Now what we can do here is, let me split this in two column. Okay, cool. So in the left side we have old code, in the right side we have the new ES6. I can comment this like old ES6 code, and not ES6, sorry, old ES5 code, and this is new ES6 code. Okay, so what we can do here is that, let us see, let us declare let name equals to John here, and we can print out console.log my name is John, sorry, name. Okay, let us print here. It prints as we know it will print, but what if we go and use it here? Okay, what did go? So what's the error? What is the error? It says, name is not defined. So see, if you use var, then you have a chance that whenever you are declaring a variable and your if any variable is used above, it will print undefined and can cause error in your code. But if you use let, then the chances are that unless and until you don't use the let assignment, it will not allow you your code to run, and even it will not print undefined. So this is where some of the errors get handled. And in as someone has coined the term, like the let here, when we define anything with let this name variable goes in the hoisted zone. No, sorry, not hoisted, it goes in the temporal dead zone. It is being termed as TDZ. So this name is assigned to the TDZ zone, where unless and until this name is not assigned, it is not being printed. It you cannot print or you cannot access this as undefined. So what you can do here is you can write where is always hoisted, okay, and let is always used in TDZ. It's always assigned in, is always put in TDZ zone. TDZ, that is temporal dead zone. And in this zone, when a variable goes, like constant also is being assigned in the TDZ zone. In this zone, when any variable goes with let and constant, it is not accessed until we don't define it here. Okay, so let us now see. As we know, it prints, so we don't need to do any changes to this. Okay, let us save here. This also, this will run and this will break. Now another concept of let is like in ES6 we have in ES6 ECMA has introduced what is called as lexical scoping. If you see what lexical scoping is, if I want to define, let me create a new file here. Let us name it old old var scope method. Okay, old var without lexical scoping. Yeah, the name is very big, but yeah, it's kind of defined like what I want to make sure. What we'll do here is that we will put old code on left and new code on right. New ES5 on left and ES6 on right. Okay, so in ES5, what used to happen? Let us see. Suppose I declare here, what should I take the variable? Yeah, let us say website equals to YouTube. Okay, now my website variable is YouTube. If website, uh, see if this is not null, website value is not null, so this is a truth statement. So if you call if website, it will always run unless and until website has not been declared. So what I can do is where website equals to console.log, I'm using website. Okay, cool. So and what I can do here is I can also log console.log. I have used website. I'm using website in if. Okay, in if. Mm, okay, in if block. Let me do it word wrap. This has become too big statement. Cool. In if block website is okay, and what I can do here, outside if block website is. Okay, so let us print it. In if a website is YouTube, okay, I should give you some space. And outside if website is YouTube. Cool. Now what I can do here is that I can change where website equals to Google. Okay, Google. What happened? Uh, in if website is Google, outside if blog website is Google. So what happened is that with where whenever you assign any variable, every variable refers to the same. What should I say? It refers to the same memory and it then changes it. Uh, in the ideal case, what should happen? In the if block website should be Google, and outside if block website should be YouTube. But where since it changes, the value remains same and it gets assigned to the same memory, we get the same value. Now let us see what happens with new let with lexical scoping. What happens here? Okay, let us do here let website equals to YouTube. If website, let website equals to Google. Copy this part. Mm, okay, now what happened? Yeah. Okay, what we'll do, will he just no, okay. By default I closed it. Okay. So here we have used where, here you have used let. So let us run this. What it says in if block website is Google, outside if block website is YouTube. So here we are getting the proper assignment. In the if block the value is Google, and outside if block the value is website. Lexical scoping is like variable assignment happens in and it remains in the block of this curly braces. Declared and it everything remains same in that curly brace. Okay, so that is the thing. In curly braces everything happens earlier, like we prior ES6 in ES5 it was based on function, it was based on function scope, and a variable were assigned in function. Okay, now our other concept is with for loop. What happens with for loop? Let us create here a new file. Old for loop with, let's name it for loop with where. Usually this is not the syntax naming convention JS guys use. They use camel case, but yeah, I'm with Python, so I have worked most of the time with Python. So sometimes I prefer this kind of naming convention of file. For loop with where. Okay, cool. So what was the issue in where when using with for loop? Let us have a look at it. Suppose I declare here mm, until I is less than 10. Okay, I plus plus. So console dot log I. Okay, Let me save it. Control B. School prints 1 to 9. Then what's the issue with for loop when we are using where? I think so with new JS it automatically detects where. I haven't declared where, but still it was printing it. Cool. So when we use where, what happens? So ideally the value should be this. I should not be accessible at the bottom. It should be only accessible at in the for loop. But you can see here when we are printing here, value comes 10. As per for loop, the value should always be less than 10 I value, and we are getting the print here 1 to 9. But when we are trying to console.log I, we are able to get the value outside for loop. If I do I plus equals to 1 console.log I, even I can get. So the problem with this kind of system is that when using var, suppose you have used an variable I here, and somewhere you want to use your variable I somewhere down, and this can cause issue because suppose you are using here I variable here, and after that you want to use a variable I at somewhere bottom down with some other kind of component. It will print this kind of values, so it is not good for it. Let us see for loop with let. Okay. Mm, for loop with let. Cool. Now what I will do is, hey, okay, I'll just copy this. Okay, let's see what happens. It fails. It says, you can see here what it does is that it prints the value till 9, which is acceptable. Like it should print the value till 9. Let 0 to 9 we can print the value, but it is not acceptable that console.log I is not valid here. Okay, since we have not defined I here. So even if we do now, it will not be able to refer because I is not defined. So benefit of using let is that your variable is within the for loop and you don't play with it like outside for loop. You have to reassign it again and then you can use it. I for here if I want to use again I can do let I equals to some value like I equals to Sumit. Okay, console.log I. Yeah, you see here after the reference it is printing I equals to Sumit, but if I remove this, see, it will throw an error. Cool. So we understood how for loop with where and for loop with mm, JS works. Now one another major concept remaining is like closure. So let us see how it works with closure. This is very important concept. If you don't know what closure is, please go and read ES5 JavaScript about closure. What I can here define is that closures are like inner function. They have access of the outer function variable and it remains same. So to define simple closure, what I can do is that let numbers equals to an array. Now what I will do is let us push some number in for loop with array. Okay, now what it should return is it should return function, inner function. Okay, it should numbers dot push function. Okay. Mm, the function value return value. Okay, cool. Now what we will do is here numbers dot for each function I. Let us say function num. Okay, return. I think so. We should do here. Best would be instead of console dot log, we can directly put here only. No need to use the both. Okay, now new num. Cool. So we can see here. Ideally, the case should be like when we are pushing the number 1 to 9 in the array numbers, the case should be that we should get the numbers like 0 to 9, but here every number is referring 10, because the thing is that in closures, since this is an I variable gets modified and all the function refers to the last variable value, which is like 10. And every you can imagine like what I should say, you can imagine as like this number. This is an array numbers. Okay, and here it is function. These are all array element function function. Sorry, and this all functions are referring to only single variable, that is I, and that is the last variable which is being declared. Although I have here not here used as var, it automatically takes it var since of new JS in Node. But yeah, so what our developers did was they used to immediately return it via IIFE, like immediately invoke function. If you don't get what immediately invoke function is, please refer to the old code and return function, old ES5 code. And what you will do here is that console.log value. Okay, so now let us see what it prints. It prints 0 to 9. So this is an IIFE code. Here what is happening is like this function get immediately invoked and I value is passed as soon as this function is being written. So at every iteration, at first iteration I value will be 0 and it will be passed here. At second iteration I value will be 1 and it will be passed here. Okay. So now let's see what happens when we use this code in let with let. Cool. So let us use the same concept. It's better to copy. I'll just convert this number to let. Even here also you can use let, that will not create any effect, but yeah, it is important to. Now what I can do is that we can directly, we will not here use immediately invoke function, since let is capable of doing it. We can remove this code. Okay, console.log I. Cool. Now yeah, see, in the last case, in the last scenario when it was there, it was not able to do this one. I'll again copy this code here. So in this waypoints, right? Okay, plug and copy this code here. Let us comment this out. Yeah, this is lit. I thought why it is printing correct. You can see every value here is 10 and every value here is 9, because since var refers every var variable refers I is a var variable, so its value changes, and then in closure it refers to the same memory, and that's value is 10. So that's why we get this error. So yeah, today we did lot much about let, and we got to know how a variable hosting is, what is like um, how if is modified, how lexical scoping works, how we work with for loop, and how we work with like closures with var and let. So this is enough for today. In next tutorial we will look how template strings are being used in the ES6. Till that, good night, sweet dreams. Bye. Take care.